Hello and welcome to the News Laundry News Minute election coverage. Joining me today is Professor Rajeev Gowda, who is contesting from Bangalore North constituency. So thank you so much for talking to us. What is yes, what is different this time around in Karnataka? The last time you won the assembly elections with a huge number. So this time around, what has changed?
The number of assembly segments that we're going to lead in has probably increased much more. And this is because what we have done in the last 10 months is we've implemented the 5 guarantees that we promised before the assembly elections. The Anna Bhagya, the extra 5 kgs of rice per person, the Graha Lakshmi, 2,000 rupees per woman head of household, the free electricity through Graha Jyoti, the free travel for women through Shakti, and the Yuva Nidhi program, which provides a subsidy for our youth, unemployed youth. So all of these have really touched the minds and hearts and stomachs of our people. They're really, really very happy and even grateful. And that's one of the key factors. Across the state, there is a groundswell of support for a party that has lived up to its promises and that has demonstrated that it really cares for the difficulties that people have been going through during the 10 years of Modi Sarkar. The price rise, unemployment, these sorts of women dropping out of the workforce, all these sorts of challenges that we've seen. In 10 years, the central BJP government has only inflicted pain on people. In 10 months, we have alleviated the pain of our people and taken care of them where it matters.
So the BJP says that all this Congress ki guarantee, the Modi's guarantee will trump all this, all the guarantees that is being given by the Congress.
Yeah, so the basic challenge is for Mr. Modi is one of credibility, right? You remember his election promises, the jumlas of 15 lakhs per person, the 2 crore jobs a year, etc. None of those have been fulfilled. So people may, listen to these speeches, but they don't believe a word. That's really what makes the difference between Modi's copycat effort at offering guarantees and our actual implementation of the same. People believe us.
And, you haven't won a seat. The Congress hasn't won a seat in Bengaluru for a very long time. What do you think has changed now?
The people of Bengaluru have been very, very upset with the state BJP government in the previous regime, right? And even though the assembly election results didn't give us the kind of results in Bengaluru city, people have realized that it was a mistake. And this time, in addition to the traditional vote base of the Congress, we also have a wonderful team Bengaluru. The candidates that the Congress party has fielded in Bengaluru, Soumya Reddy, who's an activist and a very effective MLA earlier, in South, our educationist friend Mansoor Ali Khan in Central, and myself, the professor politician in North. And then, of course, we have D.K. Suresh in Bengaluru Rural. That's some 3 assembly segments of the city fall into his constituency. And so people say, wow, this is a wonderful team, a team that can be relied upon to bring in central government grants, to fight for the voice of and the interests of Karnataka in Delhi, unlike the 25 dummy BJP MPs who we had elected in the previous in 2019. Yeah, so this it's not just about me alone. It's about the entire team that the Congress has been presenting to the people. People are very excited about us, and this is going to have a positive impact. Many people who would have otherwise voted for the BJP are telling me, for example, in North Bengaluru, that, hey, the candidate matters. We are going to vote for you. And look, it's just a matter of a couple of lakhs of people switching from their previous voting pattern to our side based on the candidates that we've offered, and we'll be home and victorious. Yeah.
And talking about the manifesto, you were part of the manifesto team. previously, and you were also part of the Karnataka Assembly election manifesto. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent speech about Congress manifesto, he calls Congress manifesto a Muslim League's manifesto, and he also goes on to say that the Congress has promised in its manifesto that gold from other people will be taken away and it will be redistributed. So how do you see this speech, and what is your response to that?
Prime Minister Modi's speech is brazenly communal. It is one of the worst speeches made by a Prime Minister of India, someone who talks about sabke saath, sabke vikas, then goes ahead, takes out and really, really twists what Dr. Manmohan Singh said, what the commitment of modern India has been to every citizen. He basically twists all that and tries to send out a communally charged message to his base of people, who thrive on hatred and division, and he's basically, lying through his teeth, and that's not new, right? And basically, he's trying to provoke some kind of anger amongst people, but people, this is Karnataka. This is, a Sarva Jananga, the Shanti Athota. This is a state that wants to be a peaceful garden of all religions. That's what our vision is, and people will not fall into this trap. They all have obviously seen that we are not going to, but we don't do things on the basis of religion or caste. We do it on the basis of people's economic needs. We do it on the basis of making sure, are our guarantees based on religion, or is our enforcement of law based on religion or caste? No, we take care of everyone who is in need. And the Prime Minister basically took, various snippets of different speeches by, say, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in his time, and twisted it and added a kind of, the most negative poison to this. And as this is a speech that we are waiting for the Election Commission to take action on. This is the kind of speech that is hate speech. That's what it is. It is hate speech of the worst kind. And it's a shame that the Prime Minister of India indulges in it. It shows you how desperate he is. And he's sensing that it's time for his government and his party to sit in the opposition. And therefore, he's trying to, do the lowest possible rhetoric that is everyone will condemn it.
But a lot of youngsters, a lot of people seems to believe that kind of speech. Some people, even in Bengaluru, or people from upper class backgrounds, they tend to believe those kind of speech. What would you like to tell them?
I think we now need to reach out to them and say, please pay attention to what kind of India you want to live in. Do you want to live in an India where the term fraternity that's in our preamble is actually meaningful, where we're all brothers and sisters, where we respect and celebrate our diversity and our respective religions? Or do you want one where it's always tension and hatred and violence and bulldozer justice, as they call it, and all kinds of things that are antithetical to the ethos of India, to the ethos of Hinduism itself?
And talking about your election in Bangalore North, you're taking on a BJP heavyweight, Shoba. How do you view her politics over the years? You have been a Rajya Sabha MP too, so you must have closely, watched or observed her politics. What do you have to say about that?
So we were in Parliament together for 6 years, and I didn't see anything of note coming from Shobaka in Parliament. Okay. On the other hand, if you ask people in the ruling party about my performance in the Rajya Sabha, they'll tell you the exact opposite. They'll tell you that they give me tremendous respect and that they've even changed laws based on my inputs. Okay, that's the kind of impact I've had. With Shobaka, maybe a heavyweight to you, but heavyweight doing what? Someone called her a firebrand, a fire starter, someone who cannot see any situation without lighting a fire and trying to create division and polarization. You remember her recent statement accusing people of Tamil Nadu of being terrorists. What sort of nonsense is this, right? This is if this is how she has built her political career, it's time to put an end to politics of that sort. It's time to defeat candidates who espouse those kinds of really, hateful propaganda.
And talking about polarization, the Neha's murder in Hubli has become a talking point in this election. There's a lot of polarization surrounding that issue. Do you think the Congress has mishandled this issue?
This is an issue that is undergoing investigation. The perpetrator of that ghastly crime is in custody. There will be suitable action taken against him. I do not see any need to add a communal color, or this is what the BJP would do, right? Anything that involves two religions, they will try and make it into some issue that is beyond what it may actually be, which is an issue involving two individuals. All right, and so basically, I do not see anyone having mishandled it. I think action will be taken according to the law as quickly as possible.
In this case, it's the Congress corporator who's the father of Neha. So there are BJP senior leaders who is going and meeting the family members. So what has been the efforts that have been made from the Congress's side as a political party, as a party?
Congress has also reached out to the bereaved family, and we share their pain.
And coming to back to the Congress ki guarantees, the 5 guarantees that the Congress party had given in the assembly elections, some of them have been implemented too. At the same time, there is this constant criticism that it's causing huge amount of money to the state exchequer. So how, as an economist, how do you explain to people as to what exactly the Congress is doing? Because giving guarantees is easy, but when it comes to implementation, the kind of money that is involved is something which is huge. So what do you have to say?
So the first part is, why have we given these guarantees? In 10 years of Modi Sarkar, we've had price rise without incomes rising commensurately. So if prices have doubled in 10 years, but your income has remained stagnant, you're only able to afford half of what you were able to afford 10 years earlier. Now, that means that we need to provide some kind of help to those who are in distress. And that's what these guarantees are about. Extra food, grains, extra income, and free bus travel and things like that. The other issue, of course, is that they haven't, the job creation has been a failure under Prime Minister Modi, and large numbers of our youth, the supposed demographic dividend, are floundering and wondering what happened to their future, what happened to their hopes. And so that's why we've brought in the Yuvanidhi project in Karnataka. Now, in the central manifesto, we promised much more. The Mahalakshmi scheme offers 1 lakh per year to women head of households, and the apprenticeship right guarantees a first job experience, right? So what we are doing is coming up with carefully thought through, even if expensive, programs which pay attention to people's distress and provide a solution to overcome those problems that they face. Now, is this economically feasible? For at the national level, yes, we are a fastest growing economy, and we're already providing free food, grains to 83 crore people today. Why? Because not everyone is moving forward in the same manner as you and I, who have done well in the modern economy. Now, you think about what happens when you give people more resources, right? Now, people don't hoard it, they spend it. When you spend money, you have consumption. Consumption has a multiplier impact. It's called Keynesian multiplier effect. And when this happens, growth picks up. When growth picks up, taxes and revenues pick up. But these revenues will be more than sufficient to take care of these guarantees. Then, in places like Karnataka, where Bangalore is one of the most happening and fast-growing regions, the growth will be even more spectacular. Most importantly, people, when they're in distress, are also disillusioned. They are dispirited. They are badly in need of some kind of a boost to their self-confidence. If you look over the last few years, when you look at people in the labor force, you'll see that people have been dropping out of the labor force. See, the term unemployment means you're looking for a job but not finding it. Enough people dropping out of the workforce itself because they really have no hope. We have to restore hope. We have to restore confidence. We have to help people stand on their feet again and think about working towards a better future. That's what our guarantees are, and that psychological impact of our timely and crucial help is going to really make a difference to our growth overall. Yeah.
And talking about Bengaluru, there are a host of issues that the city is facing, particularly the water crisis. Do you think that this water crisis will impact the chances of Congress in Bengaluru?
No, people know that we're going through one of the worst droughts. People know that a lot of the lakes that have not been filled with water have been desilted or have been in the process of being desilted for 2, 3, 4 years under the previous BJP government, which never finished that work. That's because they keep taking 40% commission and not, leaving enough resources for the actual project. And, so we are aggressively moving forward to address that so that when the rains come, we'll have more than sufficient storage capacity. We are working to, end the tanker mafia. We've made sure that it's not just the rich who can afford to get hold of water tankers, but we are making sure that everyone, from the poorest to the poor, gets access to this fundamental need, water. And then we are also working on other, proactive measures. We're pushing rainwater harvesting, pushing apartment complexes to have, multiple plumbing lines, one for drinking water and another for reusable treated water. We are, those apartments that can afford and are of a certain scale, we are asking them to use their STP treated water of high quality to be asking them to sell that for industrial purposes. So we are, and we are putting in a lot of effort, through the Bengaluru Climate Action Plan to ensure that our keres and kalways, lakes and canals are protected, that they are not contaminated. There's a huge amount of effort that we have already started. And when I've been going around the constituency, I've been able to see firsthand where the contamination is, where various kinds of interventions can be made. And now already some of the lakes like Kingeri, that we've started filling with water. Soon we will see more, more recharge of shallow aquifers. We will see much more efforts on our part to create recharge points everywhere, so that ultimately, we get enough rain in this city usually to last us if we wanted to. Instead, we find it much easier to just depend on Kaveri water or something like that. It's very costly. And so given all this, I think we are on track to be able to cope with this crisis. If you recall, when it comes to water management, in the previous Siddaramaiah-led Congress government, we had introduced the KC Valley and Hebal Nagwara Valley, lake rejuvenation projects, where treated wastewater from Bengaluru was pumped up into a very different watershed, and essentially is going to be greening Kolar and Chikballapur districts, which are where a lot of our horticultural produce comes from. So we've shown that kind of imagination. Okay, and so when it comes to water, you can trust us. In a matter of months, we will find a way to address these issues, and we will also bring in Kaveri Phase 5, which is close to completion.
The last time when I interviewed you, you said that there is no Modi wave in Bengaluru. That was the time when Modi had the maximum number of rallies here during the assembly elections. This time around, I've been following quite a bit of your campaign, and you are saying the same thing. Because people vote differently in assembly elections, people vote differently in parliament elections, particularly in Bengaluru. The last time they won 25 seats, and still Modi is the most popular, prime minister that the country has, and particularly in Bengaluru too, people he's very popular.
Yeah, Prime Minister Modi is a popular leader, but there are enough ways to counter by making sure that, for example, our candidate selection is good. There are, ground troops, our party cadres are out there motivated and mobilizing, convincing voters to switch from their fascination for the marketing machine to us, people who actually deliver, and the guarantees. We've shown that we care and we're making a difference to people's lives. So I don't anticipate that there will be a Modi wave. And if you actually think about the last couple of major general elections, there was a Modi wave. This time there isn't anything like that. People have also seen that, if he talks about national security, right, what has he done about Manipur? Manipur is a double engine BJP government, the center and state. When Manipur was on fire, there was practically civil war going on. There wasn't a word from the prime minister. People see that, and people are, really disappointed. So, these sorts of things have basically, when I talk to people, they say, well, if there is a Modi wave, it's really an anti-Modi wave. People are saying he gave him 10 years and he did not deliver.
And also talking about corruption, the last time we saw a campaign against the BJP, 40% campaign. Whereas the Congress is also talking about the electoral bond scam and a lot of other issues related to that. There is quid pro quo, definitive. There are like News Minute and News Laundry and Scroll has reported how quid pro quo has happened in this electoral bond. But is this becoming an election issue? Are people talking about it? Is the Congress taking it forward to the people, making them understand? Because it's very complicated issue.
It's corruption is not a complicated issue. People understand. Many of them have suffered corruption, right? And so when you point out that for all the rhetoric of na khaunga, na khane dunga, what the BJP has been indulging through electoral bonds, the unconstitutional, illegal electoral bonds that they feasted on, they were indulging in extortion. They would send, a company would face an ET raid, and the next day there would be a demand for electoral bonds, which would ensure that the case would be closed. Okay, that's called extortion. That's what the BJP has been indulging in, and people are aware of that. And the 40% Sarkara effect still very much remains. People are very sure that the BJP people have not changed their stripes. They are as corrupt as they ever were, and it makes no sense to bring them back. Now, on top of all this, people have seen the non-performance of the BJP. It's like, what did these 25 MPs do? So basically, did they stand up for Karnataka's rights? Did they stand up for resources for Karnataka? Nothing. Even now, they're just campaigning saying, vote for Modi. They're just dummies, right? Nobody wants dummy MPs. They want people who actually deliver on the ground and in parliament. And that's what you're not seeing from them at all. So corrupt, ineffective dummies. Enough. That's what people are saying.
Right. So thank you so much for talking to us, and all the very best for your election. And I'll hope to see you.
No
Yeah.
questions about my vision for the constituency.
Yeah. That's what I've already. Okay. Anyway, we'll go ahead. I thought it's your this thing is your we've reached.
We'll reach.
Okay. And also tell me about your vision for the constituency. What do you want to do? Because so far you have been a Rajya Sabha MP. You have been someone who has been working behind the scenes. You're someone who is a researcher. So now what is your vision, sir?
So one of the advantages of contesting a direct election is that you get to visit every part of the city and see how people live. You understand the kind of effective governance and policy measures that they need of. And so here, basically, we've focused on, So we are focused on making sure that North Bengaluru, which is the growing part of Bengaluru, that we have better developmental agendas, which is much more sustainable and inclusive. We want to make sure that issues that you asked about, water and things like that, become priorities. We need to create movements to harvest water, things that sort. I've done a lot of work on traffic and public transport. I introduced metro feeder buses. I've fought for suburban rail. So I will be focusing on, possibly introducing multimodal transit hub in Hebbal, so that the suburban rail and metro and bus stand and the highway all are connected and people find it easy to shift from one mode to another. So all these sorts of solutions, but more than anything else, the aim is to improve the quality of life of every citizen. Want to make sure that we pay attention to their cultural life, more cultural centers, sports life. We want a healthy, fit city, and so a lot more for sports facilities. So all these sorts of things are going to ensure that North Bangalore, becomes a place which is what people think of when they think of Bangalore. A very peaceful, happy, productive, impactful, culturally rich, part of the city, part of the country, and one where, people would just love to be resident.
Right, so thank you so much for talking to us. I'll see you on June 4th. Thank you.
Look forward.
This election season, your right to choose puts you at the heart of it again.
We'd like to be your eyes and ears.
Choose the journalism and media that serves democracy and you.
Simply log on to newslaundry.com/2024 election fund and choose an amount of your choice for the reports of your choice.